Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
From Chase Field, game 162 for the Diamondbacks. D-backs baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford, the series and season finale against the Padres. It's Matt Cook and Paul Clemens as we close the book on 2016. D-backs baseball for the final time this year on Fox Sports Arizona. And good afternoon from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. Matt Cook gets the baseball for the D-backs in the season finale. Bob, last time we saw Matt last week in Washington, D.C., took a no-hitter into the 6th inning against the Nationals.
Yeah, matched up against Max Scherzer in that game, and if you'd have said one of these guys is going to have a no-hitter through 5, it probably wouldn't have been Matt Cook, but he was that good against the Nationals. The only blemish in the first 5 innings was a hit by pitch. Ran into some trouble in the 6th inning, got out of there. The bullpen gave up the 2 runs that were credited to Cook's record, but pitched an outstanding ball game like a lot of the young players that have come up this year, not overmatched at all.
Yeah, there's been a lot to like about Matt Cook so far this year. Final game of the season, some guys going for some numbers, none more so than Gene Segura, 3 hits away from tying Gonzo's team record, 206 hits in a year.
3 to tie, 4 to win. You know Gene Segura is going to give it everything he has here on the final game of the season because that's what he's done in the other 161 games.
Well, this is it, 162. It's Matt Cook and Paul Clemens. The D-backs go for the series sweep of the Padres. We'll be back from Chase Field right after this. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. By Goodwill, where costumes aren't packaged, they are made. By Oregano. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Lone Butte Casino. Get in on big wins. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Northern Arizona University. At NAU, we see possibility in every direction. By Yancey's Fancy, New York's finest artisan cheese. By Law Tigers, Arizona's motorcycle lawyers. And by Gigablast, 100 times more powerful internet from Cox. Bring on tomorrow. Well, the last time the D-backs swept a 3-game series from the San Diego Padres here at Chase Field was August of 2011. Can't think of a better way to finish off 2016 as Yasmani Tomas and the rest of the Diamondbacks take the field for this series and season finale, the final game of the year against the San Diego Padres. And for the final time in 2016, let's introduce to you the voice of Chase Field, Mr. Chuck Drago.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and please remove your hats. Please direct your attention to the field as we honor the United States of America and pay tribute to our veterans, active duty, and retired men and women of our armed services. As is tradition on the final day of the regular season, we ask that you, our loyal fans, all join in the singing of our national anthem, performed by D-backs organist Bobby Freeman.
In 2016 at Chase Field, Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, and Jody Jackson along the way. Your Arizona Ford starter for the Diamondbacks is rookie right-hander Matt Cook. His second big league start. He looked terrific his first time out. That was Tuesday against the Nationals when he took a no-hitter into the 6th inning. He was quick, he was efficient, and he was very effective.
Yeah, the numbers speak for themselves, but as I mentioned in the open, his poise, his mound presence out there, you would never know he was making his first major league start last time out against the Nationals.
Manny Margot, the center fielder, leads it off for the Padres. There's strike one, and we're underway in game 162. Some rain all over the valley this morning, so we're all closed up here this afternoon. Margot doubled and had an RBI Friday in the series opener. He was 0 for 5 last night. Batting .273. He's got 5 extra base hits. Just turned 22 years old on Wednesday. Broken bat bouncer to second, right to Segura. One batter, one out for Matt Cook. The lineup for Andy Green's San Diego Padres.
Manny Margot just grounded out to second base to start the ball game. He'll be out in center field. Will Myers making his way to the plate. He'll be the first baseman. Yangervis Solarte at third. Alex Dickerson in left. Hunter Renfroe out in right field with Ryan Schimpf at second. Austin Hedges catching. Luis Sardinas at shortstop, and Paul Clemens the righty on the mound.
Here is Will Myers. 3 hits in the series, all singles. Fastball is up and it's ball one. Myers at .257. He leads the Padres with 28 home runs and 94 RBIs. And if he can get 2 home runs and 2 stolen bases today, he'll finish with a 30-30 season. And that's a good start. He laces that one down the right field line. It's off the stands out there. Tomas picks it up, and Will Myers has his 29th double.
Pitch off the plate away, and Myers barely gets enough of the end of the bat on it to shoot it down into that right field corner. 1 out double. He had 1 out in the first inning in Washington when he hit a batter. That was the only blemish in the first 5 innings against Cook in that game.
On Yangervis Solarte, the third baseman. Chris Owings, the shortstop, will shade a little over toward the second base bag. He's still on the shortstop side. Segura will back up at second into right field. Owings is coming into second, sneak it in behind Myers.
Not uncommon on the final day of the regular season to see a lot of guys taking home runs. Solarte on that last rip looked like he was trying to hit one in the pool.
289 and 15 homers. A couple of hits, including a double and an RBI last night. He was 0 for 4 in the series opener on Friday. Padres and Diamondbacks begin the final day of the year with identical records. Both teams are 68 and 93. And a season series that's tied at 9 wins apiece. So the winner today takes the season series and avoids a last place finish in the NL West.
With all the games starting at the same time on the final day of the regular season, the Minnesota Twins have scored first today. The first run on the board.
15 major league games on this final day, and they all have to start at the same moment, 3 p.m. in the East and noon in the West. Largely, I believe, Bob, as a result of what happened here a couple of years ago with the Cardinals when they backed in and changed their entire starting lineup about 10 minutes before the ball game.
Yeah, including their starting pitcher. They had Wainwright down there warming up probably 10 minutes before game time. They pulled the plug on him.
Short left field. There comes Drury.
For that matter, they pulled the plug on the entire lineup. Sat all the regulars, played all the kids. The final game of the regular season.
Our eye on defense for the D-backs is brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
Brandon Drury out in left field once again this afternoon. Haniger in center. Tomas over in right. It'll be Lamb and Owings once again on the left side of the infield. Segura and Goldschmidt on the right side. Tuffy Gosowicz getting the start behind the plate. And right-hander Matt Cook on the mound.
And Matt trying to strand that 1-out double. Myers at second, 2 down, and it's Alex Dickerson, the left fielder. Good fastball down and into the left-hander, and it's 0-1. Dickerson doubled, walked, scored a run Friday, struck out as a pinch hitter last night. He's hitting .257 with 10 home runs. Here's a very high fly ball, short right field. Tomas coming in. That's hung up there forever. And he's got it. Good job by Matt Cook. He strands the one-out double. Diamondbacks coming up against Paul Clemens. Of Gonzo's record, getting set to face your Arizona Ford starter for the Padres. It's Paul Clemens, 28-year-old right-hander. He began the year with the Marlins, made only 2 starts with Miami, and was waived near the end of June. Got picked up by the Padres, and he gets the baseball today in the season finale.
Saw him a couple of starts ago in San Diego. Went 5 2/3 against the Diamondbacks. Gave up 2 earned runs on 3 hits in that ball game. Nothing really off the chart special about Clemens. Sinker, slider, changeup guy. Tries to keep the ball down, tries to keep it on the ground.
As Gene Segura steps up, so let's take a look at Chip Hale's Diamondback starting lineup today.
Gene Segura at second base, Jake Lamb at third, Paul Goldschmidt at first, Brandon Drury will be out in left field, Yasmani Tomasi in right field, Chris Owings at short, Mitch Haniger in center, Tuffy Gosewich doing the catching, and Matt Cook on the mound.
Segura 8 leadoff home runs this year, 9 for his career. And he's ahead 1-0, 4th in the league in hitting at .320. He's got 2 hits in the series. He doubled and tripled last night. He also has walked twice. And he leads the National League with 203 hits. He is 3 behind Gonzo's Diamondbacks record of 206, set in 1999. And Segura, as we've seen so many times, Bob, it seems is capable of having a 4 or 5 hit day at any moment.
At any moment, any given day, any opposing pitcher or team, doesn't seem to matter.
So he needs 3 to tie and 4 to set a new record. 2-2. Segura is the only National Leaguer with a 200 hit season. He's going to lead the league in hits. He's got a healthy lead. Just the 3rd D-back ever with at least 20 homers and 30 stolen bases in a year. That one missed inside, and the count is full 3-2. Jake Lamb back in the 2-hole today. He's on deck. Ball 4, leadoff walk. Our eye on defense for the Padres, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Alex Dickerson will be in left field today with Manny Margot in center, Hunter Renfroe over in right field. It'll be Solarte and Sardinas on the left side of the infield. Schimpf and Myers on the right side. Austin Hedges doing the catching today for right-hander Paul Clemens.
Here's Jake Lamb. Couple of singles in the ball game last night for Jake. Padres have the shift on. They leave Sardinius all by himself midway between second and third, the shortstop. Fastball is up and it's ball one. Jake, one of the guys you're hoping gets that big hit today in the season finale. In Jake's case, it would be his 30th home run, finished with a nice round number. Segura takes off. Here's the throw from Hedges. A really good throw, and they got him. Austin Hedges is an outstanding defensive catching prospect. He is in all likelihood the catcher of their future, and he throws out Segura. Just the 10th time this year Segura's been caught stealing.
Yeah, not a great lead, not a great jump. It was a good pitch to run on, a fastball up and outside to the left-handed hitter, but Hedges, as you mentioned, got rid of it quickly, put it right on the button down there.
No challenge from the Diamondbacks dugout. 2-0 count on Lamb. Diamondbacks going for their first 3-game sweep of the Padres here at Chase Field in more than 5 years. August of 2011 last time they swept 3 from the Padres here. And Diamondbacks have played well here as of late. Chip Hill's ball club has won 7 of its last 9 home games. The 3-1 to Lamb. Drives it to center. Margot is out there. And he makes a leaping catch. Wasn't sure where the wall was. He was a good 10 feet in front of it, but he's got the second out. Time now, BB, for the final time this year, your Valley Hyundai dealers. Key to the game.
Yeah, something this team has done all year long, so they might as well battle to the very end. You guys have some personal numbers they're trying to accomplish today. Trying to stay out of last place in the National League West, try to win the season series against the Padres. All reasons to battle here on the final game of the regular season.
Paul Goldschmidt, first pitch swinging. That might hit the roof. Oh, wow. That came as close as I think I've ever seen.
I thought it
here.
Went up and over one of the rafters.
It might have cleared one of the girders up there.
Oh my goodness.
It may have actually gone above one of those girders right over the D-backs dugout.
Somebody asked me that the other day. I have only seen one ball during a game actually hit the girders up there. That was Yamil Benitez. Way back in the day.
Nice
first
pull.
season. Yeah.
Boy, that, I think you're right. It might have went over one of them. 0-2. Goldie 297 on the year as he starts the season's final day. 24 homers and 95 runs batted in. His homer Friday, his only hit of this series. He has walked twice. And he chases a high fastball and strikes out. 1 inning in the books. No score. D-backs and the Padres. this year. D-backs and Padres no score. Hey fans, if you're like me, then every weekday morning you want to know what Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp think about everything as they go head to head on the day's hottest sports topics. It's Undisputed with Skip and Shannon, 6:30 in the morning weekdays only on FS1. Hunter Renfroe leads off a San Diego second against rookie right-hander Matt Cook. A couple of rookies going head to head here. Renfroe first pitch swing and bounces it up the middle. Owings is there. One pitch, one out for Matt in the second. I really like this D-backs red combo, the red caps and the alternate home red jersey. They got away from that for a bit this year, but it's a good look. Looks nice.
I'm still kind of partial to the white on white with the teal that Huddy wears the white shoes with. I think that's my favorite new uni.
Get those Ricky Weeks Jr. teal cleats with that too if you want. You really want to go over the top. Ryan Schimpf.
Well, my all-time favorite is the Throwback Thursday purple and teal, but
everybody's favorite, that's for sure. Schimpf, 221, 20 home runs. You wore it well, that's for sure.
Well, so did my players. Wore it proudly.
Ryan Schimpf homered Friday in the series opener. He's walked twice. And he's been a problem all year long, this 28-year-old rookie. 12 games against the Diamondbacks. He's got 4 doubles, 6 home runs, and 12 RBIs. D-backs fans here, over 2 million fans again this year. Diamondbacks have drawn more than 2 million. All 19 years they've been in existence here in this ballpark. Gene Segura at second. This is what Matt Cook does. He never blows you away with stuff. He's not overpowering, but he is very quick, very efficient, and he just gets guys out.
It's soft contact. Ground balls hit right at defenders. Lazy fly balls into medium depth outfield.
The catcher Austin Hedges. Talked yesterday about how some of the players we've seen in this Padre lineup are the future Padres, and you're getting a real preview of what's to come with Austin Hedges behind the plate. Suaje at second base last night. Margot in center, Renfroe in right. These are some very good prospects, and they're all just about ready to go. Hedges has only played 7 games this year. He's 2 for 20. But had a very good season at AAA El Paso. One almost got Sardinius in the on-deck circle. It's 0-2. Matt Cook in his start last week at Nats Park was checked on the mound with that blister that was developing on his finger. That has been an issue for him all year long. In fact, he missed more than a month at AA Mobile because of that blister. That's why his numbers at AA were watered down a little bit this year. So we'll keep an eye on that as Hedges hits a fly ball to Yasmani Tomas. He's got it. A 1-2-3 second for Matt Cook. He's retired 5 in a row. No score at Chase Field.
Season earlier today here on the field, Baseball Writers Association of America giving out their awards, and the man at the plate right now, Brandon Drury, the Rookie of the Year. He's batting .350 in the last 34 games, second in the National League among rookies with 31 doubles, 127 hits. And I remember talking to Brandon in San Diego, the short 4-game series there in the middle of August. He said, I want to finish the season strong, look for pitches that I can really drive.
He's been doing that with that line drive swing for most of the year, Jody. He leads off the second against Paul Clemens, 278 and 15 home runs.
As Jody mentioned, Brandon Drury, the winner of the Baseball Writers Association of America Rookie of the Year for the Diamondbacks. Some of the other awards, Zach Greinke was the Pitcher of the Year by default pretty much. Good Guy Award went to Daniel Hudson, and the MVP, Gene Segura.
And Daniel Hudson, in what may have been his final Diamondback appearance in the ball game yesterday, was very emotional, talking to the media before the game today about his future as he heads into free agency. Drury down 0-2. And we certainly hope Huddy is going to be back, but with the way he pitched the last 2 months of the year, he was outstanding. He's going to get a lot of interest in the free agent market.
You have to believe he opened a lot of eyes with what he did in the early part of the season, and then what he's come back to do here at the end of the season.
And the way he was able to come back from that difficult stretch through all of, well, July into the early part of August. Brandon not biting on that 0-2 curveball. Drury's got 3 hits in the series. He's hit safely in 4 straight games and 8 of his last 9. And where does this man fit into the plan next year? That's one of the many questions that may get answered in the offseason. He knocks that one into left, a base hit. They'll make it 5 straight for Brandon Drury to close out 2016.
Right fielder, number 24,
Yasmani Tomas. 2 hits last night, including his 31st homer. 272. He's knocked in 83 runs. A 3-run homer in the first inning last night. Tomas sends that one into left center field. Dickerson over to cut it off. Drury heads for third. He's in there.
number 16,
Just a center cut fastball got in on Tomas just a little bit, but certainly he's strong enough to muscle that ball out to the gap in left center. Some aggressive base running there by Brandon Drury, right in the face of Alex Dickerson, first to third.
Battle to the end. That was your key to the game. A chance for Chris Owings. Drury at third, Tomas at first, and no outs. CO's hit safely in 6 straight. Curveball upstairs, and it's 1-0 on Owings, who's hitting .279 with 5 home runs.
I mentioned the Twins were the first major league team to score a run today, with all the games starting at the same time. Byron Buxton on an inside the park home run to start the ball game, made it around the bases in 14 seconds. Fastest time ever recorded in the StatCast era for an inside the park homer.
It was only a couple of years ago that Buxton was the #1 prospect in all of baseball. Young Twins outfielder. Been a little bit of a struggle for him at the big league level. And we'll run down all the playoff scenarios. It is either going to be very, very easy or really, really complex.
Might have smoke coming out of our ears by the end of the afternoon.
I spent, seemed like an hour this morning. All right, now if they win, then they go here, and that means these guys go there, and they play on this day. But if they don't, then these 2 other teams play on a different day.
I started the same thing. I got 5 minutes into it and said, Bert will figure it out.
Yeah, thanks. And the National League is not too complicated. If the Giants beat the Dodgers, San Francisco plays the Mets Wednesday in the National League wildcard game. And right now the Giants are leading LA 2-0 in San Francisco with Matt Moore on the mound. They're in the 2nd inning. The Giants will also get in if the Cardinals lose against Pittsburgh today. play ball here. Schimpf shovel pass to Sardinas. And Owings beats it out. Drury scores. 1-0 D-backs.
That hustle RBI. Chris Owings knows if he beats that relay throw back to first, the Diamondbacks will get a run on the board and legs it out for an RBI fielder's choice.
Andy Green waiting to hear from his video people. We play on. And Mitch Haniger steps up. The RBI for CO. That's his 49th of the year. Haniger 3 hits in the series, including a home run last night, his 5th of the year. So anyway, Giants beat the Dodgers. They're in. They play the Mets Wednesday. They can also get in if the Cardinals lose against the Pirates. And that's a scoreless game in St. Louis. Adam Wainwright on the mound. Hedges big arm down there. Got to be careful. The American League is vastly complex. The American League is a mess. But there are some National League scenarios that make it a little more complicated. If the Giants lose and the Cardinals win today, the Giants go to St. Louis for a tiebreaker game tomorrow night. And then the winner goes to New York for the wild card game. And there are several make-up and play-in tiebreak scenarios. But a Giants loss and a Cardinals win means an extra game tomorrow night in St. Louis with a winner playing the Mets in New York.
We like bonus baseball. As long as we don't have to make any of those trips. I want to see it all come true.
There's a lot of people that want to see these 2-, 3-, and 4-way ties, and there are those possibilities. American League, if the Orioles and Blue Jays both win today, they're in. So there is a simple formula. Wins by Baltimore and Toronto, and they are the 2 wild card teams in the American League. Right now, both those games are scoreless. The Orioles are at New York, and Toronto is at the Red Sox.
Actually, Baltimore just scored in the bottom half, or actually in the top half of the 3rd inning, take a 1-0 lead over the Yankees.
So if the Orioles and Blue Jays are both in, the Blue Jays would host the AL wild card game Tuesday. But they can also create that scenario if the Tigers, who are in this thing, if Detroit loses in Atlanta, the Orioles and Blue Jays are also both in. There is the doomsday scenarios. If the Orioles win, but the Blue Jays and Tigers both lose, Baltimore would host the wild card game. So we don't even know where this game is going to be played, let alone who's in it. And if the Tigers win today, that really screws everything up. They could win in Atlanta with Justin Verlander on the mound, and the Orioles and Blue Jays both lose. That means Detroit, which still has a makeup game sitting there against Cleveland, would have to play that makeup game tomorrow, and that could then create a 3-way tie for the wild card.
I love it. You know who is not having any fun at all today?
Traveling
the traveling secretaries for all the teams you just mentioned. They've got plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, reserving buses and planes and hotels.
The Tigers may have a scenario, if everything goes the absolute worst possible case, they could play 6 games in 6 cities in 6 nights. So if the Blue Jays and Orioles could both just win, it would make life easier for all of us. But you wouldn't get all your extra games.
No, we need all the baseball we can get.
If you get if the Tigers play at home against Cleveland in that makeup game tomorrow and win it, then you got the 3-way tie. That would send the Tigers to Toronto Tuesday. The winner of that game would advance to the AL wild card. The loser would play the Orioles at Baltimore on Wednesday for the final spot. Sardinas throws out Haniger. So here's the Tigers mess. This is what the Tigers traveling secretary is looking at. They play in Atlanta today.
Okay, they might have to make up that game tomorrow, maybe, and then off you go. They could play in Toronto Tuesday in that three-way tie. They could lose that game, then play Wednesday in the other game to see who gets the other wild card spot. If they beat the Orioles, then they're in Toronto for the wild card game. If they win that, then they're in Texas Friday for the division series, which would have to be pushed back a day because of all these ties. So if he goes a wish. High fly ball center field, Manny Margot. So we hope that confused you even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
D-backs have a 1-0 lead. Today at Chase Field, the great Dick Enberg calling his final baseball game on Padres TV, along with Mark Branch is to our left here. And we gave you a half inning of Dick's work in the ball game last night. And what a moment.
It really was. Ran into Dick in the hallway earlier today, and he was asking me, what are you going to do after the season's over? And I explained about the grandchildren and the duties as the grandpa. And he mentioned the fact he has a 2-year-old grandson, and he talked to him on the phone the other day, and he said, Grandpa, oh my. One of Dick's trademark calls.
Luis Sardinas, the shortstop, leads off the third against Matt Cook, who's retired 5 in a row and has given up just 1 hit, now holding a 1-0 lead. Sardinas 3 hits in the series. He's batting .237. One and two. Mentioned Matt Cook's blister, which was a problem for him in Double-A for more than a month this year, and flared up a bit in that no-hitter in Washington last week. It's a blister on the inside of his right middle finger, and it's been a problem all year long. He says all his pitches come right off that right middle finger. He's been using ointments. Everybody has different types of homemade recipes, but they're trying to keep that thing dry and tough, and hopefully it doesn't flare up. It started to about the 5th inning last week.
I was just thinking that very thing. I mean, battling blisters goes back to the very first time mankind threw something. I mean, it just it's an occupational hazard when you throw the ball upwards to the mid-90s. Try to put some spin on it. Eventually, you're going to get some hot spots on your fingers or your thumb. And yeah, guys have tried super glue. You try icing it. Pickle juice used to be a popular remedy for guys. Soak your finger in pickled juice. That'll toughen up the skin. I don't know if anything has ever really worked.
Nice play by Gene Segura from the outfield grass, and that's 6 straight set down by rookie Matt Cook. So we'll keep an eye on the finger. They came out and looked at it in Washington. I remember, I forget if it was Ryan or Ken were out there, and they just kind of shrugged and went, it doesn't look like that big a deal. Paul Clemens, the pitcher now. Matt Cook pitching today a lot like he did last week in D.C. 69 pitches in that ball game, 47 strikes. And it's been about the same here today. This is a guy that Chip Hale believes has already shown in the relief appearances they've seen him this year that he's not afraid. He goes right at guys. His ball moves. He can cut it. He can sink it. Slider can be good. He'll mix in some changeups. And he's always around the strike zone. He can pitch up. He can pitch in. There's a lot to like about Matt Cook. Matt pitched at the University of Louisville. He grew up in Iowa, Cherokee, Iowa. The 3rd round pick by the Mets in the draft 4 years ago. Diamondbacks got him at the deadline last summer in the trade that sent Addison Reed to New York. And Addison had a very good year in the Mets bullpen. He was outstanding all year long for Terry Collins back there. But the Diamondbacks have a guy that may be part of the rotation next year in Matt Cook. He strikes out the pitcher Clemens, his first strikeout.
Yeah, one thing I've really liked about Matt Cook in his first start and 2 2/3 innings here today. We talked about it yesterday. Watch the catcher. Watch where the target is. Does Tuffy move in? Does he move out? And how close does Matt Cook come to that target? And very refreshingly, he's right around it almost every pitch.
Is he hitting his spots? He's always had excellent command in the minor leagues. He hardly ever walked anybody in the minors. Always in or around the strike zone. Behind on Manny Margot, 1-0.
You know what else Matt Cook can do? He can jump.
He can jump?
He can jump at Washington High School in Cherokee, Iowa. Still holds the school record for high jump.
No kidding.
Yeah. So if you have off-season basketball, teams used to do that. Go play charity basketball games against school faculties and what have you. I'd draft Matt Cook.
Big guy out there, 6'3", 215. In the hole. Jake Lamb in front of Chris Owings throws out the speedy Margot. And Matt Cook has set down 8 straight Padres. He leads it 1-0.
into the bottom half of the third inning. Time to take a look at this day in Major League Baseball history, brought to you by Geico. I was actually at this game October 2nd, 2012. The second time in Major League history 2 100-loss teams face off when the Astros beat the Cubs 3-0 that day.
I'm going to guess the key to that game was play fast.
Play fast. We dubbed that the Bizarro World Series. Two teams that were cruising into the postseason, limping into the postseason,
or tanking their way into the postseason.
But they battled.
They always do. Matt Cook leads off the third against Paul Clemens.
The amazing thing was for those two teams that year, Houston and Chicago, as Cook goes down on strikes, that they didn't lose more.
Gene Segura, 3 hits to tie Gonzo's single season record of 206. He walked his first time up and was thrown out attempting to steal second by Austin Hedges. Trying to bring that bus home. Gonzo's Diamondbacks single season record 206 hits set in 1999. Segura begins today at 203.
This might be the pivotal at bat in the ball game right here.
Yeah, you're right. Another first pitch curveball from Clemens. It's 1-0.
Yes, depending on how the lineup rolls around and how many more opportunities Gene Segura is going to get, but needs to get one right here.
Fastball missed, 2-0. Only 14 players in baseball history have finished a season with at least 200 hits, 20 home runs, and 30 stolen bases, and Gene Segura is one of them. Deep fly ball right center field. Margot. Segura has walked and flied out. He's 0 for 1. 2 outs in the third. Jake Lamb trying to get Jake that 30th home run. A couple of singles in the game last night. He's at 250 on the year. Padres put the shift on.
Yeah, Jake hit it a long time. His first at bat back in that first inning chased Margot all the way to the wall out there just to the left of straightaway center.
Here's a question we'll be facing in the offseason. Is Jake Lamb the Jake Lamb we saw in the first half of the year or the second half of the year? Because the differences are 100 points in batting average and 11 home runs. He was, remember, in the final All-Star game vote at the All-Star break. 20 homers at the All-Star break. He's homered 9 times in the second half, and he's hitting under 200 in the second half of the year. So which one is it?
Yeah. One of the many tough questions the Diamondbacks are going to have to try to answer this offseason.
And if it's one or the other, then is he your third baseman? Where does Brandon Drury play? Are they both here next year? It's the list of questions is about as varied as the playoff scenarios today.
Well, one thing that Jake Lamb definitely has working in his favor is the fact he swings from the left side of the plate. The Diamondbacks are so right-handed heavy, and with the majority of the pitchers in the major leagues being right-handed, it'd be nice to not only have Jake in that lineup every day somewhere, but also maybe add another lefty or two hitter around him.
Well, it's another reason why David Peralta was such a big loss this year.
Sure.
Second walk of the ball game issued by Clemens, and here's Goldie. And for Goldie, this second half didn't go as expected. His numbers are still going to be all-star caliber, but there was a production drop-off, especially in terms of the power after the All-Star break. Goldie, it's been 69 games in the second half of the year. He's got 9 homers, 37 RBIs since the break. Now the batting average and on base percentages are nearly identical this year, first half, second half, but there was a 50-point drop in his slugging percentage since the All-Star break.
And you wonder how much of that is Paul himself, how much of it is the opposing pitchers, how much of it is the fact that he didn't really have anybody consistently hitting behind him in the lineup to give him the quote-unquote protection that he needed, and maybe a lot of teams just refused to give Goldie anything he could drive out of a ballpark.
And because he's still getting on base, he's leading the majors in walks, in fact, so he's not taking bad swings. He's doing his job. But it's just been that kind of year. Even your all-star players are having down seasons, which happens. And for Goldie, a down season are numbers that would put other guys in the all-star game. So it's all relative, certainly. 2-1 now. Is that Ralph? Hey, Ralphie.
All right.
The great Ralph Kelso. Final game for our. Can we get a shot of Ralph? Ralph, we miss your weather reports. The Ralph Kelso spot-on weather forecast. But you, sir, have done, as usual, an all-star job this year. So let's start our thank yous to our crew with you. There is the great Ralph Kelso.
Thank you, Bird.
That boy, Ralphie.
It's always a pleasure. That's by a diving Solarte and into left. A walk and a single at 2 on and 2 out for Brandon Drury. Drury singled and scored his first time up.
Now at left fielder, Brandon Drury.
Aaron Ballsy, the pitching coach, is out there. Well, we've got a lot of thank yous to pass along, BB, in our final game. Let's start with our VP, our VIP. There he is. We affectionately call him the Cooler. Sitting there with a wife, the great Scott Geyer. And Cindy says hello. Here for the final game this year. But Scott and Leslie Farrell, BB, I don't know where we'd be without him.
We'd be in a mess. That's where we'd be.
He is our vice president of broadcasting. He directed Diamondbacks baseball in the truck for years and years, along with so many Suns games. And you could not ask for a better boss. A fly ball to right field. Hunter Renfroe is there. And Clemens strands 2. We are through 3 in game 162, and it's 1-0 Diamondbacks.
The top half of the 4th inning. Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Well, another season closes. That means it's the final episode of the Dennis Lamb Show. And here is the star, Dennis Lamb himself. Dennis, you work in audio. Speak.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. It's been fun this year. Let's do it again next year.
All right. Our thanks to the great Dennis Lamb, and of course Dee Dee and Tony and Fred, all the gang in the audio. They do such a tremendous job just so you can hear us. And that involves a tremendous amount of work with microphones all over the field, cables. These guys are the first ones here and the last to leave. Will Myers shoots that one into left center. Myers will stop at first, a leadoff single. He's 2 for 2. But snaps a stretch of 8 straight retired by Matt Cook. BB, you and I stroll in, a few hours before the game. These guys are here first thing in the morning, and they are literally the last to leave and close up at night.
Yep, we wave goodbye to them every night on our way out, and they're still here working.
And they do a tremendous job. And it's not easy. There's heat, there's conditions. I know we got a nice ballpark inside with a roof and everything's covered up, but these guys are outside laying cables and doing all that stuff in the Arizona heat all summer long, so you can watch D-backs baseball. On Hervis Solarte. And then there's Holly. Hey, Holly.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
As always, she's one of the hardest working people we have.
Holly's one of the originals. I think Holly's been here since the beginning.
That's the one thing about this crew that I've learned in my 4 years here. Everybody's been here almost since day one, it seems. It's a very tight-knit group. Jimmy.
Shave.
He started his no shave November a little early this year.
He's got that playoff beard going. Swing and bunt. Matt Cook falls over on the mound, but Owings comes in to clean it up. Pay attention to third. Tuffy's way down there. That's a great play by Tuffy Gozawish, Bob, and something you've talked about all the time that catchers have to be aware of with all these shifts on.
Absolutely. The exaggerated pull shifts have changed responsibilities on balls put in play. I mean, once CO comes in to pick up that ground ball, there is nobody on the left side of the infield to cover third base. So as the catcher, you've got nothing else to do on that play. So hustle down and cover the bag at third if necessary.
So the 6-3 put out puts Myers at second, 1 down, and here's Alex Dickerson. Dickerson flying out to end the first. He's 0 for 1. 10 homers this season, 8 of them in the second half of the year. He's got a lot more playing time since they traded Matt Kemp and Melvin Upton Jr., and he's played well. See, the Giants are opening up a lead. That would make everything easier in the National League anyway. If the Giants beat the Dodgers, they will play the Mets Wednesday in the National League wild card game at Citi Field in New York. And Matt Moore's on the mound. They lead the Dodgers, pardon me, 4-0. San Francisco 4, LA zip. The Giants lost today, and a Cardinals win means the Giants go to St. Louis for a tiebreaker game tomorrow, and the winner would then go to New York for the NL wild card game. No score in St. Louis. The Pirates and the Cardinals, they're in the third. Adam Wainwright on the mound.
And what a moment at that Cardinals game last night. Matt Holliday, who figures to be elsewhere next year, his contract is expiring with the Cardinals, was called upon to hit that game, walked up to the plate, got a standing ovation from the crowd at Busch Stadium. He was standing in the batter's box crying tears down his face and hit a home run.
Unbelievable.
It really is.
Dickerson strikes out. Tuffy hangs on to the foul tip. Second strikeout for Matt Cook.
A little cutter up in the zone that time. Gets Dickerson to swing right through it.
The dangerous Hunter Renfroe, rookie power hitter, rounded out his first time up, already with 4 homers and 13 RBIs. This is just his 11th game. Renfroe had a couple of hits in the ball game last night. Single in the second, had an RBI double in the eighth. First round pick 3 years ago by the Padres out of Mississippi State. Hit 30 home runs at AAA El Paso this year. Hard to third. It's by Jake Lamb. This will tie the ball game as Myers will score. And get used to this. A Hunter Renfroe RBI. It's a 1-1 ball game. That young man can hit.
Well, it seems like every time he gets the bat on the ball, it has a ridiculous exit velocity. Even when he's hitting ground balls, they tend to shoot through the infield quickly. This one gets by Jake Lamb down into the left field corner to tie the game.
Well, that's a rocket. Jake had no chance to stop that one. Myers just jogs on home. And Hunter Renfroe in his 11th major league game drives in his 14th run.
Ground ball to third, exit velocity off the bat 109 miles an hour.
Wow. That's why they call it the hot corner, we always hear. Ryan Schimpf grounded out in his first at bat. He's up there with Renfroe at second, 2 outs and a run in. Jammed him. Tomas along the right field line. Can't get there. Drops in foul ground. He had broken his bat there. And he's going to need a new stick. Well, that's a good example of that contact that Matt Cook can generate. We've talked about how he pitches up, he pitches in. Does all the things that some pitchers are either afraid of or just can't do consistently, but Matt has no problem. And that time he jammed a powerful Schimpf. A sentence I never thought I'd say.
Be very careful.
Yeah, I won't believe me. Ryan Schimpf, 5'9", 180, but he's got 20 homers this year. If you're from Covington, Louisiana, Schimpf is probably a fairly common name, I would think. Sounds very LSU-ish.
LSU-ish.
5th round pick out of LSU by the Blue Jays in '09, Ryan Schimpf. Matt Cook strikes him out and strands Renfroe, but the Padres get the double to tie the ball game 1-1. Brought to you by T-Mobile. We never needed it more than we do today with all these wild card, tiebreaker, makeup game scenarios. Bottom line is this in the National League. If the Giants beat the Dodgers, San Francisco plays the Mets Wednesday in the National League wild card game at Citi Field in New York. And right now the Giants have a 5-0 lead on LA. They're in the third. The Cardinals factor in there as well, but they need a Giants loss.
With the Giants bullpen as sketchy as they have been in the second half of the season, that 5-0 lead probably isn't feeling real comfortable right now for Bruce Bochy.
As Manny Tomas swung at the first pitch and singled. Takes this first pitch deep to right center, but Margot is there. One pitch, one out in the fourth for Paul Clemens. If by some miracle chance the Giants let that lead get away and the Cardinals are able to beat Pittsburgh, that means there would be a tiebreaker game tomorrow night. Giants would be at St. Louis, and the winner would then go to New York and play the Mets in the wild card game. The American League, that's a whole nother nightmare. What we really need is the Tigers to lose. But if you want one of these doomsday scenarios, you want the Tigers to win. And right now they trail at Atlanta 1-0 with Justin Verlander on the mound. There's strike one to Chris Owings. CO an RBI fielder's choice. He drove in the D-backs' only run so far. Tigers could wind up playing a makeup game at home against Cleveland tomorrow. That would create a three-way tie for the wild card. They could go to Toronto Tuesday. They could then go to Baltimore Wednesday. They could play the wild card game Thursday, then play Texas Friday. As Owings strikes out.
You know who's going to have a big say, possibly, if Toronto does get in, is immigration.
Pardon me?
You know, the team's got to fly up to Toronto to play a one-game play-in, and immigration decides we want to check every bag of your traveling party, and we don't care how long it takes.
Well, we went through that. It took us a long time. We had the whole terminal to ourselves, and we were there for 2 hours. Mitch Haniger. Ooh. No. Somewhere near the elbow, maybe.
I initially thought it got him on the left wrist, but he was looking at his right forearm. Yeah, man.
I'm going to bring up Tuffy Gozowicz. Two-out base runner for Tuffy. Mitch appears to be okay. It's easy for us to say. Tuffy flying out to center to win the second. Oh, and 2.
What happened to Clemens out there?
He's limping around now.
Yeah.
The glove fell off his hand. Seemed to get his feet all tangled up, and now he's limping around behind the mound.
Not sure what that was all about. Very awkward looking follow through. He took his glove off. He grabbed down toward his ankle, limped off the mound, but kind of shooed Will Myers away, said he's okay.
Yeah, you're not going to get him out of the ball game. He's pitched too well lately. Guy that was let go by Miami earlier this year. He's coming off a win over the Dodgers, Paul Clemens, in his previous start. That was last Tuesday. And he pitched very well in that ball game against LA. Gave up just 1 run on 3 hits. He went 5 innings. Diamondbacks have faced him twice this year as a starting pitcher. First was the middle of August in San Diego. 3 runs, 8 hits in 5. He got a no decision. And he pitched well against the D-backs at Petco Park just 2 starts ago. Went 5 2/3, gave up only 3 hits, the deepest he's pitched into a ball game all year long. But both times no decisions for Paul Clemens against the Diamondbacks. He does not pitch deep into ball games. He began with San Diego earlier this year pitching in relief. He's made 11 starts, and he's pitched into the 6th inning only twice with San Diego. So he's kind of a 5-and-fly guy. Apparently Mitch Haniger is an enormous threat to steal.
Well, this certainly is a stolen base situation. 2 outs in the inning, a 2-strike count on the number 8 hitter. If Mitch would happen to get thrown out to end the inning, you've got Tuffy leading off, followed by the pitcher spot. This is a time a lot of teams try to get that runner into scoring position.
Haniger holds, and Tuffy strikes out. 4 strikeouts for Clemens. We are through 4 innings. The D-backs and the Padres all tied at 1. The Chase Field 1-1 ball game as we start the 5th, and I may tear up here. It's the final visit this year from the lovely Mike and Vanessa.
Hi guys.
How are you guys?
I can't believe it's already the last game of the season.
This is always a highlight for BB and I to have you guys stop by and fill us in on what's going on around the ballpark. So what's happening today?
I mean, it's just Fan Appreciation Day here at the ballpark, so we want to thank each and every one of our fans for hanging out with us this season, you know, watching you guys, of course. We always get lots of text messages and lots of tweets about our appearances on here. Yeah.
What do they say?
Everybody, you know, they say they laugh because we do funny things.
You guys are great.
You know,
they usually say that I'm lovely. That's what I get a lot of that.
You're a lovely person.
I am lovely.
He is the lovely Mike.
Yes.
That name's sticking now.
We went over this. We went over this. Dennis is the lovely Dennis Lamb. You're the lovely Mike and Vanessa. But 2017 schedule's been out for a while now.
Yep.
And it's time now to renew your season seats because things are going to be fun next year.
You know, and one of the things you mentioned, the schedule comes out. What I do is I start looking at the road trips as well. I just go, okay, what city am I going to spend a weekend in?
Great call.
You know, I know that I've run into you guys, and I've run into so many of our season ticket holders because it's not just the games here that season ticket holders get to be part of. Is they have great travel packages that, you know, I was up in Colorado, Vanessa, we were there. We saw so many fans up there. We did a trip to San Diego this year, and we saw a bunch of fans there as well. So it's cool seeing our family here, the season ticket holders, at the ballparks at home, but also on the road too.
It's a great division to travel in, and we talk about it all the time. If you haven't been to Coors Field or AT&T Park or Petco, you got to go to these places. Spend a weekend and watch D-backs baseball. Enjoy the city and the hotel, some restaurants.
You know. And the folks from the season ticket services, they have amazing travel packages where you travel with a bunch of other fellow season ticket holders. Really cool.
Nice play there by Gene Segura. They retire Austin Hedges to lead off the 5th. Well, you guys have been great as always. Thanks so much because you have to stop what you're doing, and you guys have duties all over the ballpark to come and see us, and we really appreciate it.
We gave away a car today.
Yeah.
How about that? That was cool.
Yeah, the Ford Edge. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, that's always one of the highlights of the last game of the year.
And last night somebody went home with $1,000.
Yes, just for signing up again to be a season ticket holder. See, so there's lots of perks to be a season ticket holder. Not only that, they get all the giveaways before anybody else.
And get into the ballpark early too. You get into Fan Fest early. That's coming up. I'm sure we're counting the days to Fan Fest here soon.
I know, right? I can't believe it. But we appreciate you guys having us here every game, and we're gonna miss you guys. What are we gonna do during the off season? Seriously.
We'll follow them around.
Yeah, that's boy. I may not leave the house, so I'll see you at the Fall League games. We'll be at the Fall League games.
Sounds good. All right, well, thank you guys.
The lovely Mike and Vanessa, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Here's Luis Sardinius down 0-2. Those guys are great.
Boy, and you said it the other day. We travel around, and every team has something similar. They call them different things, but nobody does it quite like Mike and Vanessa.
Sardinius rolls it into right field. Yeah, because they're warm, they're friendly, they're inviting. They don't get on your nerves.
Genuine.
Yeah.
It's none of that phony stuff.
You go to L.A. and they pretend they're having a talk show, and it's just very L.A. and it's not good.
At the plate, pitcher Paul Clemens.
Paul Clemens will take the at bat now with Sardinius at first and 1 out.
The thing I noticed about the on-field hosts in L.A.
Here we go.
Everything was amazing. We're giving away a beach towel.
That's
it's amazing.
You guys, it's a beach towel. Yeah, they have their issues. But we're lucky to have Mike and Vanessa here.
Well, the fans are lucky to have him. You know, it's kind of a conduit between the team and the fans, and their smile on their face every day. So glad to see their friends here at the ballpark.
Goldie will settle for 1. Segura covers 3-4 on the putout, and they move Sardinius into second. Manny Margot, the rookie, 0 for 2, will be the hitter. Sardinius at second base and 2 outs. Three-4 on the sacrifice on the Clemens plate appearance. Remember Matt Cook, when he started last week in Washington, said he knew he was going to be on a pitch count about 75 because after starting in the minors all year long, he'd only relieved, so it had been a while since he'd gone deep into a game. That one's foul. Whoa. What a play. Is that wrong way Roberson down there? He may have made the Golden Glover play of the year. That's Dick Wrong Way Roberson.
Positioned perfectly. Didn't even have to get up off his stool.
Let's give him an award.
Watch this. I got it. Don't worry about it.
What a play. What a way for Dick Wrong Way Roberson to finish up his Golden Glove season. Nice job. You got Sam No Neck Noriega working the left field line today. Up and in on Margot, and it's 1-1. Well, anyway, we're talking about Matt Cook. He said he knew he was going to be on a pitch count, 75 or so last week, and so he was trying to get quick, efficient outs, and he's been even more efficient here today. 60 pitches, 40 strikes. One and two. There's a tapper to second. More weak contact generated by Matt Cook. And he strands that 1-out single. Bottom 5 on the way. It's a 1-1 ball game.
D-backs and Padres tied at 1. Hey, fans with MLB.TV Premium, you can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 supported devices and enjoy a free subscription to AT Premium. That's the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions are in place, so check out MLB.TV for all the details. The pitcher Matt Cook leads off the bottom of the 5th against the other pitcher Paul Clemens. Matt struck out his first time up. I see the Orioles have taken a lead in New York over Phil the Iron Horse Mollica's New York Yankees, who clearly have given up again. We always kid the Iron Horse about his Yankees. And so, BB, let's take this opportunity to thank our director, Phil the Iron Horse Mollica, and our producer, Brad the Big Dog Weimer.
Absolutely.
It's both those guys' first year here with us, and it has been an absolute joy to work with both of them. They've done an outstanding job, and we couldn't do this without them. So our thanks both to Brad and to Phil, and they'll be back next year. Brad will be back first. Phil will show up at some point.
Show up whenever he has time.
June or July.
Busy schedule.
Yeah.
And we thank them for their thick skin. We give them a real hard time. You don't hear it on the air, but we have a little button here we call the talk back button when you just want to talk to the guys in the truck. And
that's when we say the real stuff.
Yeah.
Here's Segura. Gene running out of time. He needs 3 hits to tie Gonzo's record. He has walked and flied out so far.
I love that little reaction. We've seen Gene do that, multiple times this season. Big, slow breaking ball. He wants to swing at it. He kind of starts the bat and then stops it, and then he's frustrated he didn't swing at it. He got another one right there. He was ready for that one.
And while we thank Brad and Phil, we don't want to forget Scott, Jason. Scott and Jason also helped us out directing when Phil was doing whatever it is he does when he's not here, which is most of the time. Oh, wait, I wasn't holding down the button that time? Oops. Sorry, Phil. Ooh, that one just missed. Thought he had him on the curveball, and it's 1-2. And of course, everybody at Fox Sports Arizona, Brian Hogan and Craig Ritchie. Christina, Sarah, Kelly over there. Segura strikes out. That's 6 strikeouts now for Clemens, who has struck out 4 the last 5 he's faced.
Third baseman, Jake Lamb.
Jake Lamb has flied out and walked. And the Fox Arizona crew on the pre and post game shows, we always give them a hard time too, mostly because they hang out with Webby. But our sincere thanks to Brian P. Henry, Graham and Al, who do a great job on the pre and post game shows as well. And of course, Jody and Todd, Kate, everybody involved in covering Diamondbacks baseball. They get here early. You and I stroll in. They're already here working on the pregame show. They're here later, finishing the postgame show. Getting all the reaction from inside the clubhouse, on the field, putting together all the elements and the features that we see over the course of the year. So Brian and Graham and Al and Todd and Kate and Jody, thanks so much, you guys.
Webby and Joe Borowski. Webby, thank you for the eggs.
Yeah, thanks, Webby. That was great. Go. Jake Lamb bidding for 30. They didn't quite get enough. Margot way out there in deep center. Jake gave it a ride, but that's the 3rd out. We head to the 6th inning. It's a 1-1 ball game. The D-backs and the Padres.
In downtown Phoenix. We've already talked to Ralph and Holly and Jimmy. Now Toby's way out there. Phil, zoom in. Hey, Toby. Toby's the guy that almost gets killed by home runs all the time out there.
Yes, indeed, guys.
Toby, thank you so much. And we've got Trent. Where's Trent? There's Trent.
Get well, Kevin.
Trent filling in for the great Kevin Kellogg. So Trent and Kevin, guys, thanks very much. We literally couldn't do it without you. Here's Will Myers, who's 2 for 2. Myers doubled in the first and singled in the fourth. He's now got 5 hits in the series. 1-1. We can't forget Eric. Where's Eric? There's Eric.
There he is.
Myers hits one high and deep to center. Haniger has room. 1 away. And there's so many guys that work all these cameras. And we have so many cameras that cover Diamondbacks baseball. We've got Jared, who runs the Robo, and Judd, who's out there all the time, and Garrett and Curtis, and of course Mickey, Rusty. Of course, when you run the Robo, you don't get to appear on camera. That's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, but we get to see your work regularly.
Yeah. Jan Hervey Solarte shift is on. But these are all, every time you take a camera shot and you see a particular shot, there's somebody behind that camera working hard all year long for us and doing an amazing job. That's a fair ball. Goldie's got it. Oh, he saved a double there. 2 down for Matt Cook, who so far has given up only 1 run on 4 hits through 5 2/3, doing almost what he did last week.
Unfortunately, looking down at that right hand again, the middle finger with the blister was starting to rear its ugly head in DC. It's about the same time at a ball game, not quite as many pitches, but took a quick look down at the right hand after that last out was recorded.
Alex Dickerson. Yeah, Matt Cook in DC last week, 69 pitches, 47 strikes. He's at 68 right now, 45 strikes.
Not a boy.
That one has dropped into right field, a 2-out single for Dickerson.
That'll go in the books as a single for Dickerson, but once again, I think he broke his bat, soft contact. Unfortunately, that little floater drops in front of Tomas for a 2-out base hit.
And we'll deal with Hunter Renfroe, who laced an RBI double about 110 miles an hour past Jake Lamb at third. That tied the ball game in the 4th inning. Bullpen still quiet for the Diamondbacks. Fastball's in there for strike 1. Duffy blocks that one in the dirt. Our camera people all work really hard, but Curtis has to carry around his camera and walk all over the ballpark. So when we get a shot like this, that's not a stationary camera. That's Curtis, who is on his feet all day long, except right now, of course.
Yeah, those are some great shots. We've seen him come up the tunnel, you know, where you walk out there and all of a sudden the ballpark opens up in front of you. Just some beautiful shots from that RF camera.
High pop up behind second base for Owings. Well, Matt Cook is turning in another gem, but once again you see him looking down at that blister. He's through 6. We're tied at 1.
Six for the Diamondbacks. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
How does Curtis walk down the stairs like that while he's looking through the camera?
Good question.
Yeah. Goldie leads off the bottom of the 6th. There he is. Goldie has struck out single. He's 1 for 2. Down 0-2. Trouble. We got trouble.
Trouble?
The wife brought some Wetzel's pretzels to the booth.
Thought I smelled them.
They're loaded with cinnamon. Ryan DePanfilo checking out Matt Cook's blister. He saw Matt walk off the mound looking down. There's that finger. It's the right middle finger. And you can actually see that from here. That's blister on that. Skin is all puffy on there. He's pitched another tremendous ball game. Boy, he has really looked good.
Yeah, through 69 pitches through 5 innings. Last time out against the Orioles. This time 73 pitches through 6 innings.
Solarte at third. Tell you what, if you're going to pitch like this, give him the ball 33 times next year and let him go. He'll give you 200 innings.
Matt Cook is one of those guys, if you had a tryout camp, you know, there's really nothing about his stuff that would make you say, yeah, this guy can get big league hitters out. But then you watch him pitch and the way he moves the ball in and out and up and down and just keeps it off the barrel of the bat consistently. That's pitching. He may not have an arm that lights up a radar gun or a snapdragon breaking ball or a split finger that falls off the table, but he knows how to pitch with what he has.
And he was a 3rd round pick out of Louisville, so he does have some pedigree, but he's getting congratulations from everywhere, showing everybody his blister. So he's not actually giving them the finger, he's just showing them the blister. So it looks like Matt is done as Steve Hathaway starts warming up at the Diamondback bullpen. Boy, Clemens really likes to throw that slow loopy curveball on strike 1, or first pitch anyway. That one missed. It's 1-0.
Yeah, Clemens has 6 strikeouts in the ball game, matches his career high.
He has struck out 6. He's walked 2 and given up just 3 hits. One of those was by Brandon Drury to lead off the 2nd. He scored the game's only run for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, funny reaction on the follow through that time by Clemens once again.
Spots the fastball down and away, and it's 2-1. Another base hit for Drury. He's not going quietly this year. 2 for 3 today. He's hit safely in 5 straight and 9 of his last 10 to close out the season.
And we talked about it last night and on that road trip. One thing you really like about the finish to Brandon's season is not only that he's getting a lot of hits, but where he's hitting them. You know, he gets pitches from the middle of the plate in. He jerks them hard through the left side. Gets pitches up and out over the plate. He's driving them to right field. Great approach right now.
Yeah, he's hitting it hard everywhere. As Manny Tomas has been up twice, swung at the first pitch twice. He takes that one for a strike, and it's 0-1. He has singled and flied out 1 for 2. Tomas has had a very good second half to the year. He's really picked up the pace production-wise, and he's learned a whole lot more plate discipline, pitch recognition. We've seen that progress come by leaps and bounds since the All-Star break. But in the second half of the year, he's put up some very good numbers. 295, 18 home runs, and 49 RBIs. Dave Maggott, the hitting coach, an ongoing project. Chopped to third, Solarte. Drury into second, 2 outs.
Shortstop, Chris.
And have you seen enough of Chris Owings over the last 2 months as the everyday shortstop? A healthy Chris Owings, swinging the bat, driving the ball like he can. Have you seen enough to make you think that he's the shortstop next year? Or do you look for Nick Ahmed? Everything's an open competition all the time. That's the way these guys live their lives. But based on the last 2 months or what we've seen from Chris, you have to be encouraged about 2017. And keep in mind, he's only 25 years old. Just turned 25 in August. But he seems to have made great strides this year, not just being healthy with that labrum injury well in the rearview mirror, but also his pitch recognition, his pitch selection up there. He's looked like a different guy than the guy we saw last year struggle through that shoulder recovery.
Great judgment, when to steal bases, has a tremendous percentage this year. 21 steals, only been caught twice.
And the defense has been outstanding. Trying to get Brandon Drury home from second with 2 outs in a 1-1 ball game. And consider what Chris Owings has been through this year. As soon as A.J. Pollock went down, he and Brandon Drury were out there with Dave McKay. Neither guy had ever played the outfield really since Little League, almost grade school, but they were out there getting crash courses in how to be major league outfielders. There's that slow curveball from Clemens, and it's 1-2 on Chris Owings. So CO spent the first half of this year trying to keep his average up, all while trying to learn how to play center field at the major league level, a spot he never played before as a professional. Went back to that curveball and gets his 7th strikeout. We'll head to the 7th inning in a 1-1 ball game.
Speed highlights presented by Cox. And it's all about Matt Cook. Another outstanding start by the rookie right-hander. 1 run on 5 hits in 6 innings. He struck out 3, did not walk a batter. 73 pitches, 49 for strikes.
Talk about a guy taking full advantage of his opportunities here at the end of a long, miserable season for the Diamondbacks. You have to believe Matt Cook's stock with this ball club has gone up considerably over his last 2 starts.
And if it weren't for the blister, he might have gone even deeper into the ball game. Instead, it's your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change. The rookie left-hander Steve Hathaway has done a nice job this year. He last worked the 7th inning Tuesday in Washington, retired the side in order on just 9 pitches, including a couple of strikeouts. And he's on to face Ryan Schimpf to lead off the 7th. Schimpf has grounded out, struck out. He's 0 for 2.
Well, I imagine you would have to look way back through your scores this season to find back-to-back starts where the starting pitcher did not walk a batter.
How about that, huh?
Archie Bradley last night, through his 7 innings of work, struck out 11, did not walk a batter. And Matt Cook today through 6 innings, did not walk a batter.
Yeah, Archie's 11 strikeouts last night, a career high. There he is. Well, Steve Hathaway jumps ahead of Schimpf 1-2. Hathaway has given up runs only 3 times in his 22 big league outings this year. And his ERA his last 13 appearances is 1.42. He's done a nice job. 26-year-old lefty out of West Acton, Massachusetts, who pitched collegiately at Franklin Pierce University. That's in New Hampshire. D-backs 14th round pick 3 years ago. Full count, 3-2. The catcher Austin Hedges on deck. Called strike 3. Hathaway rings him up with a fastball.
We saw Hathaway strike out Alex Dickerson in the 8th inning of the ball game last night. Started him with a big loopy breaking ball, and Dickerson had a pretty good look at it. So Hathaway went to the fastball, blew him away with a couple of mid-90s heaters. Did the same thing here to Ryan Schimpf today.
And Steve Hathaway has been heard from this year, much like Matt Cook, who we were just talking about a moment ago. Hathaway split this year between AA Mobile and AAA Reno. The catcher Austin Hedges. And Hathaway's a guy who was not even in big league camp this spring. So nobody really saw him except for the coaches. But as they look for that 2017 bullpen, you got to believe that Steve Hathaway is, as of right now, part of that equation. Jumps ahead of Hedges, 0-2. Steve's done a nice job moving up through the system. Had to overcome some elbow and some shoulder injuries coming out of college at Franklin Pierce. Thought he had him with that fastball. Last year very busy at Kane County and Visalia, pitching an A ball. And this year he went from AA to AAA to the major leagues. This is going to be tricky, and it's going to get between Haniger and Tomas. Yasmani over to cut it off, but Hedges has a double. He split the gap.
Breaking ball that stayed over the heart of the plate that time for Hedges, finds that gap in right center field. Yasmani able to cut it off. Then it takes him several steps to slow his momentum. Hedges was going to get a double either way.
So you've got the go-ahead run in scoring position with 1 out, and it's the shortstop, the switch hitter Luis Sardinas. The pitcher spot is due up next, and Adam Rosales, the veteran, is in the on-deck circle. Sardinas is a switch hitter. He's better from the right-hand side for his career, about 50 points better, in fact.
Silvino Bracho warming up in the D-backs bullpen. Rosales on deck as a right-hand hitter. We'll see what Hathaway can do with Sardinius. 1-2. I think Steve, Bob, since we've seen him here at this level, his velocity is perked up a bit. I don't remember him throwing 94, 95 as hard as he is earlier this year when we first saw him.
I don't think he did. I think he was pitching much more tentatively very early on when we first saw Steve Hathaway at the major league level, but he's showing a definite commitment to his pitches. Really a little more velocity on that fastball, a little more zip, a little better break on the slider.
Yeah, he's been more aggressive out there. That one is by Lamb, and this will give the Padres the lead. Hedges scores. Sardinius an RBI double, and it's 2-1 San Diego. Went to the curveball and didn't get it down enough.
Yeah, it looked like he slowed down his delivery ever so slightly, and those are the kind of things opposing hitters look for. If you slow down on a breaking ball, that gives them a little bit of an earlier read, and that time Sardinius was able to keep that ball fair down the third baseline on the big slow breaker.
Now they announce Rosales as the hitter, and here comes Chip Hale. And he's going to go bring in his right-hander Silvino Bracho to face the pinch hitter Rosales. So we'll take a break at Chase Field. D-backs trail at 2-1. Lead. Back-to-back doubles by Austin Hedges and Luis Sardinius with 1 out. The final game of the year, game 162 from Chase Field in downtown Phoenix, and their new pitcher, the right-hander Silvino Bracho. Bracho twice worked scoreless innings in Washington on the last road trip. He pitched Monday and Thursday.
Thought we might see a left-handed pinch hitter for Rosales, the pinch hitter, when Bracho came into the ball game. Andy Green has 6 left-handed hitters available off the bench today, but Adam Rosales will face the right-hander.
Sardinius at second with 1 out. A run is in. Rosales hitting .230 with 13 home runs. He homered last Saturday and Sunday in games against the Giants at Petco Park. He's had a big second half. 13 homers for the year, but 8 since the All-Star break. Bracho jumps ahead 0-2. Based on what we saw last year from Silvino Bracho, it would be hard to classify this year as anything but a disappointment for him, but there's a lot in there in that little package. Used to call him the bulldog right-hander. He still gets aggressive, and he comes right at Rosales and strikes him out. Now that's the guy we saw last year down the stretch.
Elevated fastball. Rosales chased one first pitch of the sequence, went right back to it on the 2-strike count and got the swing and a miss.
2 down for Manny Margot.
Whoa.
That's a lot to take in there. Margot, the rookie, 0 for 3. Going to be interesting to see how the Padres sort out their outfield. We've seen a lot of Travis Jankowski this year. Runs like a deer out there in center. Margot has got excellent speed, a very high energy guy. They've got the power hitting youngster in Renfroe. Guys like Dickerson and John Jay still there as well. There's Jankowski, just runs like a deer out there in the outfield. He had a very productive rookie year. But they spent this series getting a look at Manny Margot, their top prospect. He's down 1-2. Margot, part of the package the Padres received from the Red Sox in the Craig Kimbrell deal. That was in November. Along with second baseman Carlos Asuaje, who got the start in the ballgame last night. 2-2. Trying to drop that slider in and missed, and it's a full count 3-2 with Will Myers on deck. This is the guy you need to get right here. Bobby Freeman. Our thanks as always to Bobby, the best in the business.
Billy Preston of the National League West.
I hate to go to ballparks where they don't have the organ going. It's just not the same.
It's such a difference.
It's just not the same. You're going to be at a ballpark, you got to have organ music. Should be a rule. Used to go to Dodger Stadium all the time, and even there you got a little bit of a break from the Death Star, and you'd hear accompanied by Nancy B.
Nancy B.
But Nancy B's not there anymore. We still have Bobby Freeman, thank goodness. Tuffy hangs on to the foul tip. Silvino Bracho goes out with a flare. He strikes out Rosales and Margot. D-backs trail it 2-1.
take me out to the ball game. Chase Field in downtown Phoenix, game 162. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Well, what's next is 2017. We open up here against the Giants April 2nd.
It seems like right around the corner. Interleague play against the American League Central this year. Cleveland, Detroit, the White Sox, Houston. Go to Detroit, Houston, Minnesota, and finish the season with 3 games in Kansas City this year.
So we'll cruise through the American League Central as we start the bottom of the 7th inning of the final game of the 2016 season. Pitching change for the Padres. The veteran right-hander Brandon Morrow's out there. It worked in the lower third of the Diamondbacks order due-up. Mitch Haniger, Tuffy Gozawish in the pitcher's spot. 7-8-9. D-backs have an out hit 7-4. They trail it 2-1. Mitch Haniger has grounded out. He was hit by a pitch his last time up, and he'll lead off the 7th. Mitch has 3 hits in this series. He homered here last night. And he takes ball 1 for Morrow. That's in the seats and out of play. D-backs and Padres right now sitting with identical records, 68 and 93. And a season series that's even at 9 wins apiece. So the winner of this ball game wins the season series and avoids a last place finish in the NL West. Always something to play for Chip Hale and Andy Green. 1-2 on Haniger. Morrow with that hard fastball. He's always been a hard thrower even through all his injuries. Former starter in Toronto, other places. Mitch Haniger reaches down and laces one to right. Renfroe can't get it. Haniger stumbles coming around first, a leadoff single. Nice try there by the rookie Hunter Renfroe, but Haniger's aboard to start the 7th.
Sinking line drive, nice effort that time. Renfroe just hits off the little finger of the glove and drops to the turf out there. Haniger watching the play in right field, hit the top of the bag there at first base, and his cleat just slid right off the base, went into a slide, but on at first with a leadoff single.
Well, he knew he had to keep his eye on the ball in case it did get behind Renfroe, and he could keep going, but he was able to smother it and hold him to a single. Here's Tuffy, who's 0 for 2. Pitcher spot due up next. Kyle Jensen in the on deck circle. Tuffy gets the bunt down. Myers can't get it out of the glove, and he just does get him. As they move Haniger along, he's the tying run, and Kyle Jensen will hit. Good job by Tuffy Gozawish there. Very good bunt. Big Kyle Jensen, 167 and 2 homers. Well, we have a moment. Let's thank our great game ops staff over there. There they are. There's Chuck Drago. There's Rob, Noah Berlin, Alan Morgulis, Noah, Josh and Bobby Freeman, Steve Miller, the great Steve Miller, Jeff Cedarbaum down there, Steve, and of course Baxter. Those are the guys that make the magic happen here at the ballpark. Our game ops department, and they are the best in the business, bar none. We go to every ballpark in the big leagues. These guys do it better than anybody. Although Steve Miller,
he tries hard. He battles.
He does battle. He's the best. 1-1. So they are responsible for everything you see here in the ballpark. The DBTV board, all the sights and sounds runs through our game ops. I mean, that's a lot to coordinate all that up there. Mission control. 1-2 on Kyle Jensen. Steve Miller puts together a lot of the videos that, music videos and highlight packages that we see here. Steve is responsible for much of those.
Oh, we've seen some great ones here today.
Some of the recaps they've been playing for the fans in the ballpark.
Yeah, they did one strictly at Baxter and all of his interaction with the fans this year and the opposing players.
That could have been 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So Rob Weinheimer and Noah Berlin, Josh, Bobby Freeman, Steve Miller, Jeff. Uh-oh. 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 Base hit. Matt Williams will put the brakes on. Get back there. Oh, Mitch Haniger didn't have his eye on his third base coach, and he almost ran right through a stop sign. Kyle Jensen comes up with a single, and the D-backs have runners in the corners with 1 out.
Boy, that's every third base coach's worst nightmare. Hard hit ball to left field. The runner at second coming around the bag at third. Hey, you could see Dickerson clearly had the ball several steps before Haniger got to the base, so Matt Williams had no choice but to throw up the stop sign. But as Haniger was stopping, Dickerson dropped the ball out in left field.
We didn't forget you. You're the best. This guy's the best right here. There he is. Phil, can we take the booth cam? The great Baxter.
Yes,
Nobody
indeed.
does it better. Bring it in.
Yeah, bring it in. Hug it out.
Let's hug it out. Baxter. Well, now's the time for Gene Segura. Swings and misses at a fastball. Down 1 in the 7th with 1 out. First and third. Segura has walked, flat out, struck out. He's 0 for 2. Leading the National League in hits. Now that Baxter's in our booth, I'm not sure we're going to be able to get him to leave. I don't know. I don't want to be impolite, but he comes up and he tends to make himself at home. I think he's taken over.
He's kicking back.
That's out of play. Baxter's been all over the country.
Oh, yeah, no.
Doing different stuff. He does mascot competitions. I mean, he's been in more cities than we have.
Yeah, and those mascot competitions aren't even fair anymore.
Well, he's so athletic.
He is. He just embarrasses the rest of the mascots.
1-2 on Gene Segura. Up the middle, Sardinius. They get 1, and he turns the double play. So the Diamondbacks have an opportunity. They can't take advantage, and it's still 2-1 San Diego.
game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Well, Baxter, of course, has to pay his respects to the great Dick Enberg, who's calling his final ball game here today. So when he was done with us, Baxter went next door and checked in with Dick and Mudd over there. I think he scared Dick. Now he knows to ignore Mudd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's learned.
Randall Delgado on to start the 8th inning for the Diamondbacks as Will Myers leads it off. Myers is 2 for 3, a double and a single today. And Ron Culpa says yes, he went. It's 0-1. Chris Owings at shortstop. Randall Delgado's 77 appearances, an ERA right at 4.5.
Third baseman,
He's been a workhorse this year. I'll tell you, every bullpen needs a guy or two like Randall Delgado. You can give him the ball to match up against a righty. You can put him out there to run through a couple of innings.
Yeah. This is his 79th appearance. He worked in the ball game last night, but did not retire a batter. He came on in the 8th inning and walked in relief of Matt Cook here after Matt was terrific again. 1 run on 5 hits in 6 innings. 1-0 on Hervis Solarte. Shift is on. There's his strike. That's a tapper up the line that goes foul. We don't want to forget to thank our people in the truck. Now we don't have a camera in there, do we?
I'm not
Sometimes
sure.
they have a camera set up. Phil wasn't far-sighted enough to put a camera in there, but all our tape guys, I mean, Eric and Greg and Derek, Matt and Mike, all the guys that run, you know, we showed you the camera people and the audio people, the people that run the replays and record the games and roll those plays back for you, give it the different replay angles. It takes a whole team of people to do that. And Solarte strikes out. So Derek Peacock and Greg Miller and Eric Faulkner, Mike and Matt, and of course our graphics folks who do such a great job. I mean, imagine the graphics that you have to prepare to put on the air in a Major League Baseball game. Like one right there. Somebody has to build that. And that's where Paul Krause comes in and Meg Buchan. They do such a great job along with Josh Weingrab.
Yeah, and those graphics change from at bat to at bat, from pitch to pitch.
I mean, they're typing 24/7 down there, just trying to get all this stuff on the air for you and make sure everything's correct. And that's a lot of work. And Paul and Meg and Josh do a great job. And of course, there's the little box down there. Remember when this started, everybody was crazy. Well, you can't put that on the screen. Now you can't watch without it, of course.
Can't see Randall Delgado's belt.
But, you know, Nolan Lamb has got to run that. Alex Dickerson pops it up third base side. So Nolan on the Fox box. There you go. He's still working. Records that final out. Bottom 8 on the way. It's 2-1.
In lieu of a promotion for Diamondbacks Live, which is coming up after the game, I think we have to follow Steve Berthume here and actually tip our hat collectively, if you don't mind, to Steve and Bob. Being a play-by-play broadcaster and a color analyst in baseball at any level is the most grueling job in all of sports. Truly. I know they have 6 months off coming up, but it is really hard to do and hard to maintain your focus and your energy. And you always have to be reflective of the record that of the team that you're calling. And I think we need to thank them for that. Are you
No doubt about it. I love it. I mean, they do an excellent job. They're here every day, put in a ton of time. Best in the biz.
But they do have 6 months off.
Yeah, that is nice.
All right, guys. That's enough of us. We'll see you after the game.
Well played, Todd Walsh. How's that big ball of string? Thank you, guys. In all sincerity, we appreciate that.
Very nice.
We have the best jobs in the business, and we couldn't do it without Michelle. You're going on TV. I don't want to hear a word. There is the great Michelle Godwin, who is the only reliable member of our staff because our other unreliable staff members are not here. They're at the Cardinals game, which is why they're unreliable. But Michelle is always here, whether it's out in center field with Todd and Webby and everybody out there, or in our booth, and she is great. There you go, Michelle.
Talk about the rose between the thorns.
She makes sure that we don't fall out of the booth.
Yeah. Well, and with, I don't know about you, but with my 6 months off, I'm going to start an ostrich egg farm.
And not give Webby any eggs.
Get a couple of ostriches and get big eggs. You know, Webby has those little tiny ones.
Brad Hand, the left-hander. Strikes out Jake Lamb. Now here's Goldie. Goldie singled in the third. He bounces one to Solarte at third. 2 outs. And of course, Doris Shanahan works the visiting crew. She's our Michelle for the visitors, folks. We have to provide the visiting people, and there they are. And we talked a lot about Vin Scully this year, and obviously Dick Enberg, who's here. But Oscar Soria on the left there, he's the Vin Scully of Spanish baseball. Absolutely. In all seriousness. Now, Jaime Jarrín and everybody, there's a long legacy there, but Oscar does winter ball all year long, and along with Rodrigo Lopez, there's Rodrigo. They do all the Diamondback games in Spanish television and radio. And then Oscar has no off season. He's not taking 6 months off. No. He's going to be doing games in Mexico next week. And you will not find two greater gentlemen anywhere than those two guys right there. They are an absolute joy.
It's a pleasure to travel with them all summer long. And Richard Sines as well, that fills in for Rodrigo from time to time.
He's all right.
He's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. No, we love him too. The guys that you really love, you can give them a hard time. But all of them, it's just such a joy to travel with those guys. And I have so much respect for Oscar and the way he prepares and handles himself and conducts himself. And he's an absolute consummate professional. Brandon Drury. Brandon gets into one and drives it to right center. There it goes. Just in time, Brandon Drury, and we're all tied. That's that line drive swing that they love so much, and that's why we expect so many big things out of this young man.
Well, we talked about it earlier in the ball game. He's just like a machine right now. You try to come inside, he'll pull it to left field. You try to go away, he'll drive it to the opposite field. That one way out of here to right over the ramptrucks.com pool area.
He's only 24 years old. He turned 24 in August, and when he gets his feet underneath him just a little more, he's going to become a deadly weapon in this game. That's a jumbo jack. A free jumbo jack tomorrow. The purchase of a large drink from our friends at Jack in the Box. The 16th of the year for Brandon Drury, and it's a 2-2 game.
Exit velocity of 110 with an 18-degree launch angle, which adds up to 405 feet on that opposite field blast.
It made that sound too, you could tell. And it takes to hit a ball that hard to that spot as a right-hand hitter, that's strength. That's not something you can learn or maybe even teach. That is just strength and power. And that young man has it. I'm always amazed at his makeup. He thinks about baseball, and when he's done thinking about baseball, you know what he thinks about? Baseball. He is hardwired for this game. Tomas strikes out. That ends the inning. But Brandon Drury takes Brad Hand the other way for his 16th of the year, and we are tied at 2. A 2-2 ball game as we hit the 9th inning. Fan Appreciation Day, and these are our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing cool plays of the game. That guy won a car, and all the D-backs players signing for the fans here in the final game of the year. Tip of the cap, wag of the finger.
Absolutely. You may have noticed earlier in the ball game we had a shot of Archie Bradley on the bench over there. I think Archie was getting autographs from the fans in the stands on his hat.
And we had great crowds all weekend. In fact, we have nearly 32,000 here today. The final game of this 2016 season. Big crowds all weekend long. 33,000 last night, 43,000 Friday. And perhaps for the final time as a Diamondback, we hope not, it's Daniel Hudson, his 70th appearance of the year. He'll work to the power hitting rookie Hunter Renfroe, who had an RBI double in the 4th. Huddy becomes a free agent after this season, so he has no idea where he'll end up. But he would certainly, he says, be open to a return to the Diamondbacks if those discussions get started at some point.
Well, selfishly, we'd like to see Daniel Hudson back with the Diamondbacks. A steadying presence down there in that bullpen this year when guys were coming and going on a daily basis.
Let's go downstairs to Jody.
Well, guys, you mentioned it earlier in the ball game, and Daniel Hudson, the longest tenured member of the players here, been here since 2010. He said he thought about it last night when he was on the mound. It could be his last time. He's out there again, though, and Chip Hale said, look, it is 4 days in a row, but it would be cool, that's for sure. And he was, you know, getting a little emotional earlier today talking about it, the fact that you get to this point, not every major leaguer gets to that point where you can have free agency, but he does want to stay here. Time will tell, guys.
Well, we sure hope he's back. Ryan Schimpf, 0 for 3. He has struck out twice.
Well, wherever Daniel Hudson lands, he's going to be an asset to whatever organization he ends up with. That's for sure.
He has got a lot of guts. That's my favorite thing about Huddy. He's got guts. Coming back here. One and two on Ryan Schimpf. Each team now with 2 runs on 7 hits. Two and two. Ryan Schimpf drives one toward the right field corner. And that's gone. The 21st home run of the year for Ryan Schimpf, and the Padres take a 3-2 lead.
Boy, everybody in the third base dugout questioning whether that was a fair ball.
Well, if it is, it's his 7th home run this year against the Diamondbacks. 21 home runs, 7 of them versus the D-backs. So let's see. Chip Hale is coming out to talk to Ryan Blakeney, the plate umpire. Does it go in front of the pole? Yeah, it does.
Foul ball.
That's a foul ball. You're right. They'll have a look. Headsets are coming on here.
Yeah, Daniel Hudson immediately pointed into foul territory. You know he was eagle-eyeing that ball down the right field line, and as soon as the call was made, everybody in the third base dugout threw their hands in the air.
Well, Ron Culpa on the left there, the first base umpire, called it a home run. The crew chief Jerry Meals on the right, the second base umpire. They'll talk to New York. It's an umpire review. This is not a D-backs challenge. Here's one more look. Clearly, it's on the right side of that foul pole. Passed right in front of the pole.
Yeah, this shouldn't take long. This shouldn't take long,
he said. You know who we can thank in the interim? We forgot to thank her, and we owe her a big one. Peggy.
Oh, yeah.
Peggy from Levy and her husband, Andy. I jokingly refer to Peggy as the Queen of England. She runs the food room back there in the press media dining area. And she and Andy are at almost all the fall league games. That is a foul ball, so they get the call correct. No home run. It stays tied. Take the run off the board. But Peggy and Andy are at Salt River watching the Raptors all fall long, and they're here all season long. And so our thanks to Peggy and Andy. And we'll see you next week at Salt River. That's a loud strike 2 for Ryan Schimpf.
If that had happened to Daniel Hudson a couple of months ago, the ball would have hit the foul pole.
You know what? That's absolutely right. Very good call. You're right. That's the way it was going for him. Not so much lately. Full count, 3-2, with the catcher Austin Hedges on deck. Duffy hangs on, and Huddy strikes him out. So Ryan Schimpf goes from the penthouse to the outhouse, 2 down.
And very quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, a perfectly placed fastball right on that outside corner, just above the knees.
The catcher Austin Hedges doubled and scored his last time up.
Aaron Sanchez of the Blue Jays had a no-hitter against the Red Sox today with 2 outs in the 7th inning. Hanley Ramirez hits a game-tying solo home run to break up the no-no and tie the ball game.
I see the Orioles are still winning in New York. They're in the 9th. Toronto and Boston 1-1 at Fenway Park in the 7th inning. If the Orioles and Blue Jays both win today, they are the 2 American League wild card teams. Blue Jays would host the AL wild card game Tuesday. But there are all kinds of American League scenarios, mostly involving the Detroit Tigers, who it looks like are still trailing in Atlanta 1-0.
Yeah, Julio Teheran started that game for the Braves, went 7 innings of 3-hit shutout baseball, struck out 12 Tigers in 7 innings.
Daniel Hudson gets 2 strikeouts to close out the 9th. Bottom 9 coming up. And a series sweep and a walk-off win on Sunday. 2-2 as we hit the bottom of the 9th. Our Gila River game summary. Matt Cook outstanding again. 1 run on 5 hits in 6 innings. Diamondbacks were down 2-1 in the bottom of the 8th when Brandon Drury hit a 2-out homer, his 16th of the year, to tie it up. Daniel Hudson 2 strikeouts in the top half of the 9th, and now Chris Owings leads off the home half against the lefty Brad Hand. Bullpen is quiet for the Padres. Owings gets into one. Margot is there, however. In the gap, he was shaded over toward right center. And a well-hit ball by Seo turns into out number 1. There's Mitch Haniger, who singled his last time up. And there is something to play for between these two. As we mentioned earlier, both the Padres and Diamondbacks have identical records, 68 and 93. Season series even at 9 wins apiece. So the winner wins the season series and the loser finishes last in the National League West. Diamondbacks trying to sweep 3 from the Padres here at Chase Field for the first time since August of 2011. Fly ball, right center. Margot one more time. 2 outs. Brad Hand is living dangerously here. And now the batter will be Tuffy Gozuich.
Catcher, Tuffy Gozuich.
Baltimore Orioles have won in New York. So the Orioles are in. If the Orioles win, but both the Blue Jays and Tigers lose, Baltimore would host the wild card game. Right now, Toronto is tied at Boston, and Detroit is trailing in Atlanta. Tuffy blasts one to left center. That's going to reach the wall. Jankowski over to pick it up, and Tuffy goes a wish. A 2-out double. He's the winning run.
Jumping on that first delivery, a low fastball. He barrels it up to that gap in left center, putting himself into scoring position. Now he'll be taken down for the pinch runner. Socrates Brito representing the winning run in this game.
Pinch running at second base for Tuffy goes away. Number 30, Socrates Brito.
And Phil Gosselin will be the hitter. Well, Phil has led the major leagues all year long in pinch hit at bats and pinch hits, and now he can close 2016 with a walk-off winner right here. They will appeal at first, and yes, he touched the base.
Andy Green's going to ask him to review whether Tuffy touched first base on his way to second on that double to the gap.
Well, he's right there on the top step, right in front of the bag. There's the bench coach, Mark McGuire.
Ladies and gentlemen, the previous play is under official video replay.
Just did brush it with the inside of your foot. That's really the way you're supposed to cut corners on the bases. You don't want to step in the middle of that bag. It's going to throw your arc way out around on your way to second base. You want to cut it as short as you possibly can. Tuffy did it perfectly that time.
Of course, that angle of the bag is screened from the Padres dugout. But with Gozawish, now Brito standing at second as the winning run, now is the time to use that challenge. Mentioned Travis Jankowski. He's checked into the ball game in left field, replacing Alex Dickerson in batting fourth. Here's another look.
As I said, I just think that's good base running. That's the way you're taught to cut the corners, whether it's going from first to second, from second to third, from third to home. Hit the inside part of the base with as little shoe as you possibly can, and then propel yourself onto that next base.
Well, they're taking a long look in New York. Ron Culpa, the first base umpire, on the left. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, on the right. And the word has come down that he is safe. Yes, he touched the base. So a 2-out double for Gozawish. Brito, the pinch runner at second, the winning run, 2 outs, and Phil Gosselin hits for the pitcher.
A little surprised Andy Green doesn't have at least a right-hander available right now. He's violating his own Kevin Quackenbush rule. Usually we see Kevin Quackenbush late in the ball game from the Padres bullpen.
He's got a whole mess of guys down there, but there's no one warming up as Brad Hand is on for his second inning of work. And facing a whole bunch of right-hand hitters. Base hit wins it. Strike one.
Now, Brad Hand has been pretty good against right-handed hitters this year at .230 batting average, but he has really been deadly against the left-handed hitters.
Nice block by Austin Hedges back there, and it's 1-1 on Phil Gosselin. D-backs have now out-hit San Diego 8-7. Phil in there at .274. He's homered twice this year. Breaking ball missed. 2 balls and 1 strike. Brandon Drury, a big day. 3 hits, including a home run with 2 outs in the 8th that tied it. Went right back to that curveball. That time he dropped it in there, and it's 2-2.
Padres defenders in the outfield, Jankowski and left, Margot in center, playing very shallow. Both have pretty strong, accurate arms. Hunter Renfroe with a big arm out in right field. Haven't seen a lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of scouts have talked about Hunter Renfroe's arm. He can really throw. Base hit! Here comes Brito! And the Diamondbacks win it! Now that's the way to finish a season, Bob Brenly.
Yes, indeed. Phil Gosselin has been money off the bench for Chip Hale all summer long. Never more so than that ringing single back up the middle of the field to drive home Brito.
And your Valley Honda dealers' key to the game was keep battling. Brandon Drury, a 2-out homer in the 8th to tie it. Hits by Gozawish and Gosselin with 2 outs in the 9th, win it.
And Daniel Hudson gets the win today.
That's terrific. So the Diamondbacks get their first 3-game sweep of the Padres here at Chase Field since August of 2011. One more look as they win for the 8th time in their last 10 home games.
Oh, nice swing, tracked that ball all the way to contact, ripped it into center field. Margot's throw to the plate was wide to the first base side, and Socrates Brito plates the winning run on the final day of the regular season.
And this win gives the Diamondbacks a win in the season series with San Diego, 10-9. And more importantly, they will finish the year with a record of 69-93, 1 game ahead of San Diego. In the National League West, the Diamondbacks finish 4th.
Well, we've said it for a better part of a month or so now. It's not much to play for, but it's something, and you constantly have to find reasons to motivate your team to go out there every day and to escape the National League West basement, win the season series against the Padres. What a way to end the season.
2016 ends with a 3-game sweep of the San Diego Padres. And the Diamondbacks finish the year 69 wins and 93 losses, 4th place in the National League West. Well, hard to think of a better way to end this season, and our thanks to all of you who have watched Diamondbacks baseball with us. We know that some of you can't always be at the ballpark with us, and we're very grateful that you've hung in through a long season, and we hope this was a pleasant and fun way to end it. And we certainly know it was fun for Phil Gosselin. He's standing by with Jody Jackson. Jody, look out.
It was fun for Phil. Oh my gosh. You warned me.
I tried to warn you they were coming.
We actually did a promo like this a couple of weeks ago, and now it's happening for real.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, trying to end the season here with the sweep at home in front of the home fans here, so it was a lot of fun.
Thanks for the heads up, but yes, this is the first time I've been doused all year, so this is memorable. This is memorable too because when you're coming up there in a tie game and you've done it all year long, you've been great off the bench. Is there some pressure to win the final home game of the year?
No, I think you just got to treat it like any other at bat. If you put extra pressure on yourself, it's only going to make it harder. Tuffy did a great job of hitting that ball in the gap, and yeah, I was able to get one through there and get the run in.
How important has it been for this team to keep battling all year long? I think that's the thing that we've seen from you guys, no matter how difficult the circumstances. How much of that goes a long way for this clubhouse and says a lot about them?
I think it shows what the guys are made of in there. You know, it's been a tough season. The wins and losses weren't where we wanted, but everybody still showed up all the time and worked hard. And, you know, you see what maybe the potential going forward for next year.
For you, just doing the job you did off the bench, pinch hitting, how were you able to perform in that spot all year long?
A lot of help from the coaches, my teammates, trying to figure out a routine, how to have good at-bats when you're not playing every day. So it's been a lot of trial and error, and I think I got better and hopefully get better moving forward with it.
All right, Phil, thank you so much. Phil Gosselin with the big hit. Guys, we'll send it up to the booth to Steve and Bob.
All right, thank you, Jody, and congratulations, Phil, and to all the Diamondbacks on a series sweep to end the year. Daniel Hudson gets the win, Brad Hand the loser, and Phil Gosselin hits the walk-off single that closes out the 2016 season. D-backs win it 3-2. Back with more after this.